I found her hammering a metal, no trespassing sign straight into a 90-year-old county survey marker with the same fury you'd use to squash a cockroach. She was grunting, muttering about reclaiming HOA land, completely oblivious that every swing of her garden hammer was bringing her one step closer to a state-level felony. And me? I just stood there on my porch with my coffee, wondering if I should tell her she was committing heritage vandalism on protected land, or let karma finish her coffee first. It started like any other Tuesday. The sun hadn't fully risen yet, just a soft orange glow creeping over the hills behind my ranch house. I was on the porch, boots up on the railing, coffee in hand, soaking in the silence. The ridgeline behind my fence was still and silent, a stretch of prairie grass and rusted barbed wire that hadn't changed much since the Depression. That marker she was defiling had been there since before my father was born, part of the original county survey, later protected as a heritage easement. My grandfather used to say, "Son, that post's been standing longer than some towns." But now there she was, Karen Delaney, wearing her HOA windbreaker like a sheriff's badge, standing over that marker like she owned the valley. And she wasn't alone. Her two sidekicks from the HOA board were right there. Ted, the retired insurance adjuster who thought yard signs should be pre-approved, and Linda, who once fined a family for painting their mailbox the wrong shade of blue. Together, they looked like they were on a holy mission, dragging measuring tape across the dirt. Karen barked orders, scribbled into a clipboard, then proudly pulled out a cheap orange sign and drove it straight into the marker with the confidence of someone who truly believed she was saving civilization. I watched her for a while, partly in disbelief and partly in admiration of her sheer audacity. I had trail cams all over that land, and I knew they were recording every swing. Eventually, curiosity got the better of me. I set my coffee down and walked over. The moment she saw me, her jaw clenched like I'd tracked mud into her showroom kitchen. Before I could say a word, she snapped, "You're trespassing." I raised an eyebrow. "This ridge trail belongs to the community now. We voted," she added, adjusting her HOA badge like she was a deputy. I glanced at the sign she'd hammered in. It was crooked and already peeling. "That post is a county marker," I said gently, like I was explaining matches to a toddler. "No, it's not. It's an old fence post." I looked it up. "Where?" "Google Maps," she said. I almost laughed. Instead, I pointed to the small rusted tag at the base of the post, a county seal from 1934. Ted squinted like he was looking at fine art. Linda stepped back, already forming an O. But Karen doubled down. "That's irrelevant. The HOA voted to extend jurisdiction to the ridge for safety. Kids play back here." "Not on my land," I replied. "And this isn't HOA property. You crossed the line." Her face turned a bright cherry red. "If you remove that sign, we'll file harassment and obstruction charges." I nodded and walked away. Back home, I pulled the footage from the trail cams. Clear as day. Karen hammering, Ted waving around a survey, Will that wasn't even touching the ground, Linda nodding like they were curing cancer. I saved the clips, backed them up, and pulled out a binder labeled Ridgeline Easement. Inside were old county maps, official letters, and a photo of my grandfather standing beside that marker, smiling in black and white. Then I made a call. The County Land Services office didn't take long to respond. I sent over the footage, coordinates, and marker ID. After a pause, the guy on the line said, "She hammered a sign into it?" "On video, sir. That marker is under state protection." That's when I knew Karen was toast. The first county vehicle arrived just before noon the next day. A white truck with the county seal and a blinking light that added a nice dramatic touch. Two workers in khaki vests walked straight to the marker, clipboards in hand. Karen must have seen them too, because within minutes, her HOA golf cart came barreling down the trail. She jumped out, yelling, "You can't be here without HOA approval. This land is under our jurisdiction." The taller county worker calmly took a photo. "This marker is under county and state protection. This area is being reviewed for restoration." Karen sputtered, "This is HOA land." I submitted a map. "Ma'am," he replied, The last recorded HOA easement ends 42 feet west of this marker. Her voice cracked. That can't be right. The younger worker pointed at the sign. Did you install that? Karen froze. Her eyes darted toward me. I gave her nothing. It was a community safety measure, she stammered. Intent doesn't override preservation law, the worker replied. Driving a metal object into a register marker is a violation. Karen's voice grew frantic. It's just an old pipe. He knelt and pointed to the serial number. Matches county registry. Installed in 1934. She tried to pivot. This is a misunderstanding. The HOA approved. They didn't, he cut in. We called. That one hit like a gut punch. They walked away, telling her to expect a notice in the mail. She left without a word, her golf cart kicking up dust. I figured it would end there. A fine, a lesson learned. But Karen wasn't built for humility. She called an emergency HOA meeting that night in someone's garage. I showed up uninvited. Karen ranted about boundary ambiguities and community safety, waving a self-made zoning map that conveniently placed the ridge within HOA lines. Greg, a quiet board member, raised his hand. Where did you get that map? I made it, she said. You mean, it's not official? Karen nodded reluctantly. The room shifted. Then I stepped forward and laid down the county's official, laminated map. This is the real boundary, I said. Your sign is vandalism. The HOA lawyer, watching via laptop, leaned forward. If this map was knowingly inaccurate, the HOA could be liable. Karen stammered. I was protecting the neighborhood. Intent doesn't negate liability, he replied. Fallout came fast. By Friday, a citation arrived for a $1,000 fine, pending state charges. Carol whispered the details over coffee. By Thursday, the sheriff rolled up. Sheriff Darnell Beckett, a man who spoke in deliberate tones, stared at the marker for a long time. My grandfather helped drive that post, he finally said. She said it was just an old pipe. I told him. He didn't laugh. That post marks more than land. It marks respect. By noon, the county had flagged the area for state review. It turned out the marker was part of a registered heritage corridor. Karen's hammer had made headlines. Teenagers recreated her swings on TikTok. Trucker caps and diners chuckled about that HOA lady. The state fined her another $8,000. Restoration fees brought the total to over $12,000. Court was pending. She tried to fight it. She lost. She sold her golf cart to pay fines. I bought it for fun, added a plate, HOA free since 25. They repaired the marker, sealed and painted. The HOA adopted new rules. They even invited me to join. I declined. One evening, I walked the ridge. The new plaque stood proudly. Ridgeline marker, established 1934. Preserved through generations. Protected by law. Karen had tried to redraw boundaries with a hammer and a lie. All she managed to do was draw a spotlight to her own ignorance. The land stood taller than ever. And the people who cared about it? We didn't need titles. We remembered where the lines were. Because we respected them.